The entire conference room at St. Michael's Medical Center fell silent the moment I said the words. This is my wife, Annabelle. I had rehearsed it 100 times in my head, but nothing prepared me for the way the air sucked out of the room. 20 attending physicians, residents, nurses, and the hospital board members stared at us. Some with polite confusion, others with barely concealed shock. Annabelle stood beside me, her hand tight in mine, her smile fixed but trembling at the edges. She wore a simple navy dress that made her look like she belonged in a boardroom more than a hospital. Her dark hair pulled back, green eyes scanning the faces for any sign of warmth. Then Dr. Elias Grant, the hospital director, rose slowly from his chair at the head of the table. He adjusted his glasses, cleared his throat, and spoke in a voice that carried across the dead quiet. Annabelle, he said, it's good to see you again, Mariah's sister. The word landed like a slap. Sister. Not wife. Sister. My stomach dropped. Annabelle's grip on my hand turned vice-like. I felt the heat rush to my face as murmurs started, soft at first, then spreading like wildfire. Someone coughed. A resident in the back dropped a pen. I forced myself to speak. Dr. Grant, that's not. But he cut me off with a small, almost pitying smile. Mariah, we've known each other for 15 years. Your family photos are still on your mother's mantle in the lounge when she visits. Annabelle has been introduced here before, as your younger sister. Unless something has changed dramatically since last Christmas. The room erupted into low, uncomfortable laughter. Not cruel exactly. Just the nervous release of people who had been handed a scandal on a silver platter. Annabelle let go of my hand. I turned to her, desperate. Tell them, I whispered. Tell them the truth. But she didn't. She just stared at the floor, cheeks burning, shoulders curling inward like she could disappear. That was the moment everything started to unravel. My name is Dr. Mariah Thompson. I'm 34, Chief of Emergency Medicine at St. Michael's in Seattle. I built my career on precision, calm under pressure, and never letting personal life bleed into work. For 8 years I had been married to Annabelle, legally, quietly, in a small ceremony in Portland where only our closest friends witnessed it. We kept it private because my family, old money, old values, old Southern roots transplanted to the Pacific Northwest, would never understand. My mother, Evelyn, still called Annabelle, that sweet girl who visits with you. My father, Richard, referred to her as your roommate, even after we bought a house together. We told ourselves it was temporary, that one day we would be brave enough. But temporary became permanent, and permanent became cowardice. Until last month, when my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The prognosis was months, maybe less. Suddenly the secrecy felt obscene. I wanted my mother to know me, really know me, before she was gone. I wanted to bring Annabelle to family dinners not as a friend, but as my wife. I wanted the hospital, my second family, to stop asking why I never brought a date to events. So I decided to introduce her at the monthly all-staff meeting. A public declaration. No more hiding. What I didn't know was that Annabelle had already spoken to my mother privately. 2 weeks earlier, while I was on a double shift, Annabelle had driven to my parents' house in Bellevue. She sat with my mother in the sunroom, held her hand and confessed everything. Our marriage, our life, the reasons we hid it. My mother listened in silence. Then she asked one question. Does Mariah love you more than she loves this family? Annabelle said yes. My mother nodded once. Then she has made her choice. She never told me about the conversation. Instead, she called Dr. Grant, her old college friend, and asked him to look after her daughter if things got difficult. She gave him permission to use whatever means necessary to protect the Thompson name. And so, in that conference room, Dr. Grant chose his side. After the meeting dissolved into awkward small talk and hurried exits, Annabelle walked out without a word. I caught up to her in the parking garage. Why didn't you correct him? I demanded. She spun on me, eyes blazing. Because your mother already told him the truth, Mariah. She told him I'm your sister, and that any other story is a lie you're telling yourself. She said if I ever claimed otherwise in public, she'd make sure the whole hospital knew I was trying to ruin your career. I stared at her. My mother is dying. And I'm the villain for loving you? Annabelle's voice cracked. I sat with her for 3 hours while you were saving strangers. I listened to her beg me to let you go so you could have a real family. She said she'd rather die thinking you were straight than live knowing you chose me. The words hit harder than any trauma code I'd ever run. That night, Annabelle packed a bag and moved into a hotel. She said she needed space. I said I understood. We both lied. The next morning, the whispers had spread. Nurses avoided my eyes in the halls. Residents asked careful, loaded questions. Dr. Thompson, is everything okay with your family? I buried myself in charts and patience. Denial is a powerful drug. But denial doesn't last when your wife stops answering your calls. 3 days later, I found out Annabelle had filed for an annulment. The papers arrived by courier to my office. Grounds fraud. She claimed our marriage was based on deception. My deception toward my family, my refusal to live openly. She wanted out before the scandal swallowed us both. I sat in my office staring at the documents until my vision blurred. Then I did the only thing I could think of. I drove to my parents' house. My mother was in bed, frail and yellowed, oxygen tubes in her nose. My father sat beside her, reading the Wall Street Journal like nothing had changed. I stood in the doorway. Mom, why? She looked at me with tired eyes. Because I love you, Mariah. And I won't watch you throw away everything we've built for a phase. It's not a phase. It is if you let it be. She coughed, weak and wet. Annabelle came to me. She said she was willing to step aside if it meant saving you from regret. She's a good girl. Better than you deserve right now. My father folded the paper. We talked to Grant. He'll make sure the story stays quiet. People will forget. You'll move on. I felt something break inside me. I don't want to move on. My mother reached for my hand. Her skin was cold. Then you'll lose us all. Is that what you want? I pulled away. I left without answering. Back at the hospital, I paged Annabelle. No response. I went to her hotel. The front desk said she had checked out. Panic clawed at my throat. I called her sister, our mutual friend, actually Lena. She's gone to Portland, Lena said quietly. She needs time, Mariah. You hurt her. Badly. I didn't mean. You introduced her as your wife in front of people who could destroy her reputation too. Then you let your boss call her your sister. She felt erased. I hung up and sat on the curb outside the hospital, rain starting to fall. For the first time in my adult life, I didn't know what came next. The rain didn't stop for 3 days. Seattle turned gray and relentless, mirroring the hollow space in my chest. I worked doubles, triple shifts, anything to avoid going home to an empty house. The bed still smelled like Annabelle's lavender shampoo. Her side of the closet was half empty now, hangers rattling like accusations. On the 4th day, a nurse named Carla slipped a note under my locker door. Annabelle was here yesterday. She asked for your schedule but wouldn't wait. Said to tell you she's safe. I crumpled the paper in my fist. That afternoon during rounds, I overheard 2 residents in the break room. Heard Dr. Thompson's sister is actually her partner. Wild, right? Director shut it down fast, though. Said it was a misunderstanding. Bet the family's old school. Thompson money doesn't play with that stuff. I walked in. They froze. Out, I said. They scrambled. I locked the door and leaned against it, breathing hard. The rumor mill was already churning, but Dr. Grant had capped it temporarily. I knew how these things worked. One wrong word and it would explode. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Mariah. Annabelle's voice, small and raw. Where are you? Portland. With Lena. Come home. I can't. Why not? Because every time I look at you, I see your mother's face. I see you choosing silence over us. Again. I was trying to protect. You were protecting yourself. She paused. Your mother called me last night. She asked me to stay away until after the funeral. Said it would be easier for everyone. My throat closed. She has no right. She has every right. She's dying, Mariah. And she wants her daughter back, the version she raised. Not this. I am this. Are you? Annabelle's voice cracked. Because the woman who stood silent while her boss called me her sister? That wasn't my wife. I had no answer. She hung up. That night I drove to Portland. Lena opened the door, arms crossed. She's sleeping. Don't wake her. I need to see her. You need to fix what you broke. She let me in anyway. Annabelle was curled on the couch under a blanket, face swollen from crying. I knelt beside her. Her eyes opened. You shouldn't be here. I love you. Love isn't enough when it's conditional. It's not conditional. Then why didn't you fight him? Why didn't you say, no, this is my wife? I looked down. I was scared. Of what? Losing your job? Your reputation? Of losing them. The words tasted like ash. My parents. My mother is dying. I thought if I waited. You waited too long. She sat up. I spent years waiting for you to be ready. I lied to my own family, skipped holidays, pretended we were just roommates. I did it for you. And the one time you decided to speak, you let them rewrite our story. Tears burned my eyes. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't erase the humiliation. She touched my cheek. I still love you, Mariah. But I can't keep being the secret. Then don't. Come back. We'll tell everyone. It's too late for that. She stood. Your mother asked me to sign the annulment. I haven't yet. But I'm thinking about it. My heart stuttered. Don't. Give me a reason not to. I reached for her hand. She let me take it, but her fingers were limp. I don't know how to do this without you, I whispered. Then figure it out, she said. Because I can't keep carrying us both. She walked to the bedroom and closed the door. I drove back to Seattle in silence, rain lashing the windshield like punishment. The next morning my father called. Your mother wants to see you. Alone. I went. She was weaker now, voice barely above a whisper. I did what I thought was best. You outed my marriage as a lie. I protected our name. Our name. I laughed bitterly. What about my heart? She closed her eyes. You'll thank me one day. I won't. She reached for my hand. I let her take it. Forgive Annabelle, she said. She tried to do right by me. By you. I pulled away. You don't get to decide that. I left her there, alone with her machines and her certainty. Back at the hospital, Dr. Grant called me into his office. We need to talk about the situation. He said. There's no situation. He sighed. There is if board members start asking questions. Your performance is impeccable, Mariah. But optics matter. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you. Keep it quiet. Or consider a transfer. I stood. I'm not hiding anymore. He looked almost sad. Then you're braver than I thought. Or stupider, I thought as I walked out. The hospital became a battlefield. Not loud, not obvious. Just small cuts day after day. A colleague forgot to include me in a group email about a critical case. A nurse hesitated before handing me a chart. The cafeteria grew quieter when I sat down. Annabelle hadn't returned my calls in a week. I threw myself into work until exhaustion numbed the pain. One night, during a mass casualty drill simulation, I missed a torn aorta on a dummy. My attending pulled me aside. You're off your game, Thompson. I'm fine. You're not. He lowered his voice. Whatever's going on at home, leave it at the door. People die when you don't. I nodded, throat tight. That same night I got a text from Lena. She's coming back to Seattle tomorrow. To talk to a lawyer. My hand shook so badly I dropped the phone. I waited outside the courthouse the next morning, raincoat soaked through. Annabelle appeared at 10, hair in a messy bun, eyes red-rimmed. She saw me and froze. Don't do this, I said. She walked past me. I followed. Please. She stopped. You had years, Mariah. Years to choose me publicly. You chose comfort instead. I was going to. When? She turned furious. After she died? After the funeral where everyone would pat you on the back for being such a devoted daughter? I was never going to be first. You were always first. Then prove it. She shoved the annulment papers at me. Sign them. Let me go. I stared at the pages. My signature line was blank. I can't. Then fight for me, she said. Not for your mother's approval. Not for your job. For me. She walked away. I stood there until the rain stopped. That afternoon, I went to my mother's room. She was asleep. I sat beside her and spoke anyway. You win. I'm letting her go. Her eyes opened. Good girl. I left before she could see me cry. But I didn't sign. Instead, I called Dr. Grant. I need to speak at the next staff meeting. He hesitated. About the truth. Silence. Then, be careful, Mariah. I hung up. The night before the meeting, Annabelle showed up at the house. I opened the door. She looked exhausted. I couldn't stay away, she said. We stood in the foyer inches apart. I told my mother I'm letting you go. Her face crumpled. Why? Because I thought it would make her happy. But it didn't make me happy. She stepped closer. What do you want? You. Out in the open. No more lies. Then do it, she whispered. Tomorrow. Tell them. I nodded. We didn't kiss. We just held each other until dawn. The staff meeting room was packed. Standing room only. Word had spread. I walked in with Annabelle beside me. No hand-holding this time. Just side by side. Dr. Grant stood at the podium. Dr. Thompson has requested time to address the department. I stepped forward. My voice shook at first. 2 weeks ago, I introduced Annabelle as my wife. Then our director corrected me. Called her my sister. Murmurs. I let it happen. I stayed silent. Because I was afraid. I looked at Annabelle. She nodded once. Annabelle is my wife. We've been married for 8 years. I hid it from my family, from all of you, because I thought it would cost me too much. I swallowed. My mother is dying. She asked me to choose, her legacy or my truth. I almost chose wrong. I turned to the room. I won't hide anymore. If that means consequences, I'll face them. But I won't erase her again. Silence. Then Carla, the nurse from earlier, started clapping. Slowly others joined. Not everyone. Some faces stayed blank. Some looked away. Dr. Grant cleared his throat. Thank you, Dr. Thompson. We'll discuss this internally. I stepped back. Annabelle squeezed my hand. After, in the hallway, a resident approached. I'm gay, he said quietly. Thank you. I nodded, throat tight. But the real test came later. My father called. Your mother heard about the meeting. I braced. She wants to see you. Both of you. We went together. My mother looked smaller than ever. She stared at Annabelle. You came. I love your daughter, Annabelle said simply. My mother closed her eyes. I thought I was protecting her. You hurt her, Annabelle replied. Tears slipped down my mother's cheeks. I know. She looked at me. Forgive me. I took her hand. I'm trying. She turned to Annabelle. Take care of her. Annabelle nodded. Always. We left the room. Outside, Annabelle cried against my shoulder. It's not fixed, she whispered. I know. But it started. That night, we slept in our bed for the first time in weeks. No promises. Just presence. The fallout came slowly. Board meetings behind closed doors. Whispers about professionalism. A formal review of my performance. But patients didn't care. They still thanked me, still trusted me. Annabelle started coming to the hospital again. Not as a secret, but as my wife. She brought coffee, sat in the lounge, talked to nurses. Some welcomed her. Some didn't. My father visited once. He stood awkwardly in the doorway. I don't understand it, he said. But I see how she looks at you. He left without hugging me. My mother lingered another month. On her last day, she asked for Annabelle. Alone. When Annabelle came out, her face was wet. She said she was sorry. For everything. I held her. She said she loved you more than her pride. We buried her on a sunny day. At the graveside, my father stood apart. After he approached. I'm not ready to celebrate, he said. But I'm not ready to lose you either. It wasn't acceptance. It was a door cracked open. Annabelle and I went home. We didn't speak much. We just existed together. Healing is slow. One evening she said, I almost signed the papers. I know. I didn't because I believed you would choose me. I did. She smiled, small and real. Then keep choosing. Promised I would. Months passed. The hospital adjusted. Not perfectly. Some colleagues drifted away. Others became allies. Dr. Grant retired early. His replacement was younger, openly queer. Irony, perhaps. Annabelle and I bought new rings, simple gold bands we wore openly. We hosted a small dinner for friends. Lena toasted us. To truth. And to the price we paid for it. We clinked glasses. My father came once. He stayed for coffee. He didn't mention Annabelle directly, but he asked about her work. Small steps. One night, lying in bed, Annabelle turned to me. Do you regret it? Never. Even the pain? Especially the pain. It taught me what matters. She kissed me softly. We fell asleep holding hands. Life moved forward. Not easy, not perfect, but honest. My mother never fully understood. But she let go. And in letting go, she gave me permission to live. Now when I walk the halls, I don't hide. I introduce Annabelle as my wife. And when people ask questions, I answer them. Truth isn't always comfortable, but it's the only thing that lasts. In the end, I lost a version of my family. I gained something truer. Was it worth it?